Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica and I'm going to be doing some journaling in my Ritual Tarot Planner for the Virgo Full Moon. I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of like the energy of this moon and then pull some cards connected with it. Like this is a personal kind of connection with the full moon, but some of the stuff will be more kind of generally relevant as well. So hopefully you'll enjoy it and you'll find this video useful. So this is my Ritual Tarot Planner. I've done like a flip through of this planner as well. I am an ambassador for Ritual, so if you were interested in buying the planner, I've got a 15% discount code, which is in the description box down below. So we're into March. It's actually a few days before the full moon as I'm filming this. Is the Friday before. I like to do my full moon journaling before because I find it informs what I want to do as like a kind of like a ritual on the full moon as well. So I think I will fold this back actually to do this because it makes a bit more sense. So full moon in Virgo, March the 7th. For me in the UK, this is the honeycomb planner, which again, I've filmed a flip through channel before a few times because I just find it so useful. It's like a completely personalized astrological planner, which is just amazing. And I opted to have the lunation charts in mine, which means that I get charts for each of the full and new moons throughout the period of which the planner is for. So here is the chart for the full moon in Virgo. We've got the moon down here in Virgo and the sun is up here in Pisces. So this chart will look different depending on where you are in the world because it's made specifically for me in this place. The timing will obviously be different according to the local time and your time zone as well, but the actual sort of shapes the planets are making will be the same. So at a full moon, the sun and the moon are always in opposite signs. So we've got Virgo and Pisces, and like the Virgo Pisces axis is very much about like the Virgo tends to be seen as being about kind of like organization and habits and work and our kind of like routines and our duty as well, you know, like our kind of service, how we can be in service to others. And then Pisces tends to be more about like the more numinous things, you know. It's like, so it's mutable water, so it's associated with that kind of like flowing of emotions and like the kind of blurring of boundaries and merging into everything else. So it's that kind of idea of oneness with all that is. And like in a kind of like natural zodiac where Aries is the first sign, Pisces is the last sign, and so Pisces being the last sign is all about kind of like endings. It's about that kind of, like I said, that blurring of the boundaries. And Virgo is much more about like the kind of the personal boundaries. So it's like kind of your personal boundaries, like I do this because it's good for me, and that's why it has connections with like habits and routines and stuff like that. In my chart, because in my chart I'm in Libra rising, so I've got Pisces, which in theory like sort of should be the 12th house. It's not that it should be, obviously everybody's different and like the positions work well in different places, but like from the natural zodiac, Pisces should be the 12th house, but in my house, in my chart, it's the 6th house. And then Virgo, which should be the 6th house, is in the 12th house. And so I've got that thing of it being reversed in my chart. And so I always tend to find that issue of like boundaries and then like that idea of merging and dissolving, and my ideas of like what routines are and service and things like that are all kind of like bound up together. So for me, basically what I found is that my daily routines, the things that I do every day, are very much spiritually connected, with it being like with Virgo being my 12th house, if that makes sense. It's not all about me. Honestly, I will talk a little bit about the moon in general. So yeah, so Virgo full moon, we're dealing with those ideas of personal service and like kind of personal needs and routines and things, opposed with that idea of like understanding that we are part of a greater whole, that we're part of everything. Yeah, does that make sense? So I'm looking at this now, my full moon in Virgo, and I'm going to use the prompts as they are because I've been finding that works quite well actually in my planner. So the first three are to do with like harvesting, witnessing. They're to do with like where I am right now basically, and then the next three are about kind of how to release things and kind of let things go in that waning part of the cycle, which is coming next. I find that quite useful, and like I said, I like to do this before the moon because then on the moon itself I can design a kind of ritual around what comes up, basically, so I know, like, this month has been a lot. Pisces moon cycle, like from the Pisces new moon to the Aries new moon, is always kind of challenging for me, and there's a lot of stuff often comes up, and so yeah, I normally do need to do a ritual on the Virgo full moon to kind of like make sense of it all and to like just let things go. So I'll stop chatting anyway. I'm going to use the Astara Tarot to do the reading. I've been using this deck in my daily draws this week, so it kind of makes sense to use it here as well. It's nearly all upside down, so probably the whole deck is upside down, yeah. So that makes a lot more sense. It's a really, really gorgeous deck. Some people don't like it because it has imagery by different artists. It was created by 4 different artists, so it is a little bit like incongruent sometimes, a little bit. Oh, I better put my, yeah, I did pull 10 of Swords today. Joy. These are my cards for today. I'm sort of putting back in. So yeah, some people don't like it because it has got very sort of different art styles, but I actually really like that about it. I do really enjoy the art and get a lot out of it. What I don't like about it is the cardstock. The cardstock is a bit gross. It's very chunky and not very flexible, so it makes it quite difficult to shuffle, and it's got this like gilded edges which almost makes it feel like sharp when you're shuffling. I did do a full walkthrough and review of this deck, like a really in-depth, I think I've done 2 reviews. I did like a quick review and also like a really in-depth kind of my take on each of the cards of this deck, so if you're interested I'll try and remember to link those at the end of this video and in the description box. But yeah, it reads really well for me. I really like it, and it, like, I know we're coming up to Ostara, so it seems, for me, this is a very springtime deck. I love to get this deck out quite early on in springtime. So yeah, the Pisces month, it does tend to come out. I'm calling it the Pisces month, the Pisces moon, because this is we're in the moon cycle. We're in the sun is in Pisces at the moment. So the whole time that the sun is in Pisces, I think of as being Pisces moon. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to riffle them. Like I said, I'm not very good at riffle shuffling, so other people would do a better job than me, but it is hard because these cards are stiff. And also kind of plasticky and shiny. You can probably see the light shining off them. Yeah. So I'm gonna use this deck for all 6 of the prompts, I think. That's what feels right. I think for 2 of them, I think I've used 2 different decks, and 2 of them I've used the same deck. So let me know if you are using the ritual planner, how you're finding it as well, how you're getting on with it. I'm finding it so good, which I, was surprised that, there you are. 4 of Cups, lovely. Yeah, I was surprised because I wasn't sure how I'd get on with it, whether I'd like it, whether I'd just kind of use it for a little bit and find it not good. But yeah, I'm more into tarot than ever before from using this, which is, yeah, kind of surprising. Like, I sort of saw it, I guess, kind of as being I was thinking of it more as like a beginner tool, having a tarot journal, like a pre-printed tarot journal like this, but actually it's been really good. Okay. Okay, so where am I right now? Okay, and we've got Page. And this is the other thing with this deck, is that it isn't always immediately obvious what suit with the court cards because it hasn't got it on there. And this Page is one that I've got wrong before, actually. I feel like it's maybe Page of Pentacles, but I will look that up in the book and make sure before I go in with it now. So this is me right now. It looks like I'm kind of climbing up a hill. I've got all these foxes around me, which is really supportive to me, actually, because fox is an animal that I work with a lot. There's a lot of them around me here in Wales where I live, and I hear them in lights a lot around the garden and stuff, and sometimes I have to clean the dog off because he rubs himself in fox poo. But it's that kind of like looking for answers, kind of coming up the mountain. She's got like some flowers in her hand as well. It's like kind of almost a quest, but she doesn't look, it's not like a knight quest, is it? It's a, knight with a K-N, not just a knight. It's like a more, almost like a coming of age quest. That's what it feels like. That's where I am right now. I'm like on this journey of like finding out more about myself, which I do when I come around to this Pisces moon. I'm doing that and it's not fun, but it's good. It's good work, really, you know, it's good work. Okay, so what is influencing me? Oh, the Lovers. Okay, so, and look, yeah, how they've got like their eyes bound like that as well. This is a really weird Lovers card, isn't it? Like in a lot of respects, because it's like, what I'm taking from it here is that idea of like being in sync with somebody without like they've got their eyes, it's almost like they're together, but they are like beyond the sort of sensory. Like sometimes Lovers cards are very much like somebody's looking at somebody, somebody's looking at the angel, you know, it's that kind of thing in the Rider-Waite type stuff. But this Lovers card is more like both kind of more sensual and also like less erotic in some ways. I don't know if that's not the right way of describing it. It's quite fiery, isn't it, on here? And sometimes the Lovers card is about kind of choice and stuff like that, but I feel like this particular version of the Lovers card always seems to me more about tuning in, because of the fact they've both got these kind of like masks on. It's almost like kind of tuning in and that blending again, that like Pisces idea of blending, of merging with other. Yeah, so I feel like that what is influencing me is like I kind of like I'm dancing with other, and that is influencing me, because I'm like, how can I be myself when I am in the embrace of other as well? You know, it's like, how can I be a separate person? Like that's very Virgo, isn't it? It's like that kind of idea of categorizing and organizing and being this like separate person when I am also undeniably part of all there is. And so yeah, that kind of dance, that kind of primal dance of that merging and dividing, which, you know, relates so much to our woman rune for this month as well. If you're in the circle of kindreds, you know, we're working with that woman rune, which is the 2 circles of merging and dividing, which is very, that's the work that I'm doing. That's what's influencing me this month. What have I created since the last new moon? Okay, the Hanged Man, interesting. So created space perhaps for introspection, time to like maybe slightly like a little prison for myself, but also like not so much a prison, but you know, like a state of being suspended and like away from everything else, so I got a chance to kind of figure things out. And like it's almost like a little bit sinister, this Hangman. We've got these like pumpkins which look a bit kind of spooky and eerie in the background. So I think I've basically created an opportunity for myself to do shadow work and to probe into some of these like kind of unconscious things which are easier not looked at. Yeah, but the problem is like the reason that like a lot of the cards with the Hangman is like it's a very meditative pose as well. It's like you have to kind of go through it to be able to understand and to move out of that Hangman. Like, you know, the card after the Hangman is death. You know, we have to have this kind of understanding before we can do that breaking down and rebirthing, which is part of this. So even though that's kind of like not fun in some ways, and I do feel like I'm kind of in a sort of stasis, like, because like on the surface it doesn't look like there's anything very much happening, but like with these big pools of water, it's like there's an awful lot going on underneath the surface that is not seen by the outside world, because it's stuff that I'm dealing with on an internal level. So yeah, that's interesting for me. What have I created? Okay, so that's kind of like the first part of the reading, those first 3 cards. And then we've got the what have I created since the last, what is no longer serving me, how can I let go and release, and then what can I learn during this cycle. So this is more like future orientated now. This is kind of like reflecting on what has been and where I am right now with it all, and then this is kind of taking it forward. And I think these prompts, like even if you don't have this journal, you could easily just use these prompts, couldn't you? They are good ones, I think, to use on the moon. So what is no longer serving me? And I've got 9 of Swords. So like feeling attacked, feeling kind of victimized, and like I've got to defend myself all the time, you know, like I know I think differently from lots of people, and that perhaps I'm wired differently from lots of people. And so it's like, you know, being out on a limb and people attacking you, that's not very peaceful, is it? And so like having that kind of image of myself as being threatened is not that's not going to help me to be healing and be kind of moving forward in the way that I want to. So I need to release that image of myself as under threat, under attack. Yeah. And then how can I let go? So how can I let go and release that energy? Oh, lovely. Okay, so the Fool, I love this Fool card. It's gorgeous. I do kind of feel like it's me with the laces all untied and everything, and being a little bit like she's been dragged through a hedge, but still is on this. And look how it's like, you know, going towards this light of where I am right now. I feel like I am on that like Fool journey. And so I need to step into that even more. And she's not just any old fool, she's a witch, you know, she's on her broomstick. And I love that. It's like I lean into that witchiness. I lean into that following of the light, of the kind of spirit guidance as well. And that's how I can let go and release that kind of heavy energy of feeling different and kind of attacked. Yeah. And then what can I learn during this cycle? And we've got the Page of Wands. So yeah, so a page to start and a page to finish. That's interesting, isn't it? So like, this is where I am now, and this is where I'm going to be. Let's find out. I think it's the Page of Pentacles. Let's have a look. It's this one, the one card in this deck, and it's typical that it would come out while I'm doing a reading as well on, you know, for on camera kind of thing. So yeah. Okay, so it's not the Page of Swords. It's not the Page of Cups. Yeah, so it is the Page of Pentacles. Good. So I do sound like I know what I'm talking about, and I do use this deck a lot. I haven't used it until like this week, and this card hasn't come out this year, because like I said, I tend to use it more in springtime, so it's kind of like a revisiting of this deck. But yeah, Page of Coins, as they call it in this deck. Spiritual contentment, intuition, reflection, and nature. An ethereal princess moves through a river of moonlit foxes. While most of the coin suit deals with material wealth, the page is a symbol of spiritual bounty. The woman is content, and the foxes are benevolent spirits who guide her. Use your heart to make the decisions you're querying when you see the Page of Coins. This can mean taking time away to reflect, yeah. Preferably close to nature and away from distracting technology. Cultivate your intuition by keeping your body physically fit and your spaces uncluttered. Interesting. Okay, so that's where I am right now. I am trying to work on, like, my word this year for this year's movement, and I haven't been doing a whole lot of movement. I've probably been doing less since last year, but I feel like I am making movement in other areas. Like, I do definitely feel like this Hanged Man, you know, like, the movement seems to be happening like below the surface, and I'm hopeful like this month it will be more like I'll actually be physically moving as well. So that is good. Excuse me, I'm just hiccuping. And oh gosh, I hope I'm not gonna have hiccups now. Trying to swallow that. Yeah, so it's like that. Yeah, that does seem really on point for me where I am right now in my journey, you know, with the spirit guides, and kind of, like I said before, like I kind of on that quest, but a querying, they call it here, don't they? A querying. So that's interesting. Yeah. And then let's have a look then at this Page of Wands as the kind of last, moving from there to there. And it's a fox again, you know, we got that fox and a fox as well. Enthusiasm, exploration, discovery, free spirit. A fox ventures out from its hiding place amongst the foliage and whispers a dream to the night. The Page of Wands is a free spirit who heralds new beginnings. This moonlit marauder has not yet been weighed down by the burdens of the material world and has a true passion for life and all its potential. The appearance of the page in a reading indicates that you are on the verge of a new discovery or a new phase of life. You've been experiencing a creative restlessness that is waiting for expression. This card represents the creative spark that comes suddenly and ignites the flames of a new passion for life. Well, that is very cool. So I have been working more like actively on creative projects and stuff this year, and I feel like things are changing, and like a lot of that has been to do with like part of my work. Like I'm lucky that I get to be creative in my work, like making videos here for the channel, but also like in my membership program as well, like, you know, we're creating there, and I feel like doing the work with other people definitely makes me it makes it harder but it also makes it like it's richer, and it is more raw, and because of that it makes it like deeper somehow as well. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that, to sort of be in this kind of fox energy on this verge of like beginnings of new creative explorations and stuff, you know, and that follows really well on from embracing that fool as well. Yeah, look, 3 majors, 6 cards, 3 majors, that's a lot, isn't it? And then 2 courts and just 1 minor. Interesting. Yeah, and like no water necessarily, but like there is a lot of water in the Hangman card as well there, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of air and water, fire. Yeah, interesting spread of cards there. I will write those up. I won't write those up now while we're here, because I've basically chatted my interpretations through with you anyway. I never really know what I'm going to do with these cards, with this side. I don't even know if I filled it. I'm not sure if I filled it in last time. I don't think I did. Oh no, yeah, I did. I filled it in afterwards. Yeah, so I might fill that in, I think, as part of my full moon ritual. So, you know, it's kind of like stock stuff, really, like release, gratitude, forgive, celebrate how I feel. So I might do that, like I say, as part of my full moon ritual, but I don't feel like that necessarily goes with this. I feel like this is kind of like a thing in itself, you know, and I'm really happy with those cards and how they came out. That was really helpful. So I'm not sure if sharing this is helpful for you. Let me know what you think and how your full moon in Virgo preparations are going, whether you do any readings and stuff around this kind of thing. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon.